Hello and welcome to Mystic Ashram. Today I'm going to be showing you how you can construct your own astrology chart if you're not just printing them out from the computer. In the middle of all this, we'll be discussing reading houses on an astrology chart too. So in the thumbnail of this video, we have calipers. These are calipers, and you want the ones which have numbers on them. That way you can make sure they have degrees. These are metric centimeters versus inches, but we're going to be going for about 10 degrees on a metric thing like this. Now this one is for grade school children. Does not have any numbers on it. Very safe though. No sharp edges. So if you want to just draw circles, then this is probably good enough. But we're going to be using this blue one. So, okie dokie. We have this all-purpose bold though. If we wanted to make a smaller chart, we would use this. But for right now, we can use pretty much any 360 degree surface. And we can put it down right there. Now, whether when you're first starting out, you probably want to use a pencil. That way, in case you make any mistakes or you want to change anything, you always can. But for right now, we're going to be using a Sharpie marker because it's going to show up a lot better on our screen. Okay, right on. Now we just have a very simple circle. Just 1 second. We will make sure that you will be able to see it accurately. There we go. We have a circle. Now, when you print them out from the computer these days, they look something like this. And we will get to everything about this. But for the meantime, we've got this. And this is 360 degrees. And then we're going to not quite draw it. We're going to cross-section it, starting from the center, approximate. So this is about 14-inch piece of paper. We'll go about 7 inches. That's about approximately in the middle. And then in terms of length, this is almost 17 inches. So it's more like 16. So we will cross section the points to about 8 inches. There we go. Okay, so we have a cross section of our circle, of our radius, really, is what we've got. Okay, so at that point, we're going to be drawing what I'm going to explain first, which is that all astrology charts are maps of the sky. That's what they are. They are a map of the sky at the time of an event or someone's birth or even a historical figure's death sometimes. All depends. So now we have something which looks like this. Yay! Now, this is where the true astrology begins. Let's get our thing here so that you can see as well as possible with the lighting I have. Okie dokie. This is the midheaven, right there. It's the MC. Midheaven is north of whatever point we're talking about. Is noon in the sky. We're talking about usually a westernized chart here, these round ones. The Asian version of this chart is more along the lines of what you sometimes see in my room here, which is a bunch of triangles. There are also 12 houses though, and all the 12 houses are the same. So this is just an alternate way of doing it. I've run across people who they don't really do sidereal or tropical style Western charts. They do, say, an Azarist chart or some other form. So there's many different varieties. However, in the Western tradition, the sidereal or tropical zodiac with a Sagittarius 0-degree galactic central point is considered the standard for the Western Hemisphere astrology, according to Greenwich Mean Time being 0. Now, this is the midheaven, direct north. This is the ascendant. It is the ascending sun that comes up over the horizon, wherever you are. This is the IC, the medium colli, and it is the point directly at the bottom, the South Pole of wherever you are. And then we have the descendant. A descendant, whether it be sun or moon, it's descending. So basically, the sun and the moon, they travel this way. They go around the earth. They go this way. In this chart, this would be true north, right here, north, or also known as noon o'clock. And so this would be midnight or south. And ascending would be east, descending would be west. Okay, so yay. At this point, we're going to draw in more houses. We have 12 houses to get through. So just kind of like a clock. Get through. So just kind of like a clock. So pardon me while I disappear this for a moment. Please follow along. This is a drafter's ruler, which is, although you can get lots of different kinds of rulers, they'll all work. This one is metal and it sits flush with the paper. So we're going to make evenly spaced pie slices is what we're doing. It's very helpful if you have a ruler that's long enough to fit across your circle all the way. So you only have to draw out a few lines. Okay. We're setting in place what are called deacons. Deacons are 10-degree segments. Also, these are each 30 degrees. These pie slices, I should correct myself. These are 30 degrees. Those fit into 3 deacons, each of 10 degrees. Okay. Now, you're going to have to forgive my drawing example, maybe a little askew, but I think it'll serve the purpose that we're asking, as long as it has the right number of lines. I missed one. Did I? 3. Okay, I have the correct number of lines. Just had to count. Okay. So, just to make this easier on ourselves, we'll extend this part. Even though you can get computers and websites and apps which can spit you out a chart very, very fast, there's something to be said for drawing out an old-fashioned chart. There are also, I should mention, types of charts that go into like past life growth or soul growth, and those are draconic charts. So let's keep going here, shall we? I have right here something that I printed out, and I will get close to the camera so you can see it. And what this is a pinwheel, which I have added a little pipe cleaner, but you can use like a little thing from an envelope, those brass things, a straw will work. But this has is the numbers of the houses on the outside, and on the inner side is all of the Western signs for astrology, is what this is. So we can turn it when it's affixed to what I'm making now, and we'll be able to essentially change the what sign we're reading for as we go in future readings. So this one corresponds to Aries, and so forth. I'm going to have to make one that'll show up better on camera. That's a little more homemade. But where we're at with this is that this would sit in the center and it would rotate, and that way we could have, Pisces in the 12th house and the ascendant. And that would be a video for all of the people who have particularly Pisces, sun, moon, rising. When we do that, that's what that is that we move that center point. So the first house, which is the first sign on this little pinwheel, which I made, is known as Aries. It is a fire house, a fire sign, and belongs to Aries' ruler, Mars. We're going to drag this closer so people can see. There we go. That's better. Isn't that better? That's better, right? Okay. So Aries is a fire sign. It's the first sign of the zodiac. Tell you something you didn't know. The first house has to do with traditionally the way people see us. Now this varies in terms of whether it has more to do with our inner selves, the part that people don't usually see, or whether it has to do with our outer nature, the part that people clue onto first, but it's not really us. I personally see the sun sign as being much more predictive of people's outward appearance when they first get met, because people know more about sun signs. The ascendant is more about an inner thing. So this first house, which is fire, which is Aries. The second house, which is Taurus. Symbolized by a bull, a circle with horns. This is the ram, so we use a symbol like a goat with horns. And the second house is ruled by Venus. So first house is Mars, male principle. Second house, female principle, Venus. Taurus. Whereas the first house is the inner nature, the second house usually symbolizes family relationships and and fortune, wealth, that kind of thing. It also symbolizes some amount of ties to your values, your ethical moral standards. So morals that were passed on to you, or ethics that were passed on to you ancestrally. In the third house, we're going with Gemini. These are the twins, symbolized by the Roman numeral 2. The third house is ruled by Mercury. It has to do with any type of communication. That includes mass media. It includes psychology, mental stuff. Then, and friendships a lot, but particularly like any kind of mass communication, social media, machines which tell you information, telephones even. So we're talking a lot of communication there, ruled by the third house. Fourth house is Cancer, symbolized by two cells revolving around each other. Actually, I like that. Sorry, I'm not used to doing it from this angle. Okay, so we got one. It kind of looks like a yin yang is what it looks like, okay? And the fourth house, it has to do with the home. All things Cancerian. It's very creative. It's very feminine. It's very moon. It has to do with the intuition, but it's very much about the family and the home. Now, in five, we have Leo. The sign of Leo, which is very similar to cursive L. It is a tail. It has a tail. Just like lions. So the fifth house represents entertainment, gambling, all forms of child caretaking, childlike behavior. So that's very much the entertainment house. Now, in the sixth house, we have Virgo. And it's an M. And it has this long tail on it, kind of like Leo. And Virgo is Earth. Let's see. Gotta go back over this. So we have Gemini in the third house. It's Mercury. There you go. It looks kind of like Venus, but it's got a little hat on. And then the Cancerian fourth house, that's ruled by the moon. It's a really easy glyph to remember because it looks just like a moon. And then in Leo, we have the sun. And it's a circle, the dot. And then Virgo. Virgo, it used to have a ruler, Mercury. But Mercury, it rules it still rules Virgo, but it now is kind of in charge of just Gemini and Virgo. It no longer rules Pisces like it used to, because we have external planets. We have more planets. And each time we discover something in the sky, that seems to play a role in how we interpret charts and what new influences are felt in society. So how we track those influences changes, such as with the new asteroids, as those have been discovered over the past 30, 40 years since 1979 with Chiron. So, okay, with this Virgo kind of thing going on, that is telling about Mercury, but it's an earth sign, not like Gemini. And it's kind of like Venus with a hat. Mercury. So, next, in the 7th house, we have the House of Libra, partnership. Just stepping back to Virgo for a second, the 6th house is known for domestic pets, health. You would look to the 6th house to see about maybe some health indicators, like maybe what kind of exercise you should do or what kind of food would be good, things along those lines. So let's see what to watch out for. The 7th house with Libra, that's all about partnership, but it's also about Jupiter, oddly enough. Even though Libra is ruled by Venus. 7th house is also about Jupiter. Here we go. Now, Jupiter is kind of like a 4 with a cross on the staff. And Libra, Venus, very, very balanced sign. But this Jupiter influence of the 7th house is all about teachers. It's about benevolent authority. It's about exchange of communication so it's about partnership of any kind, whether that be through contract and business or whatever. We have that in the 7th house. Now, 8th house is interesting. 8th house is ruled by Scorpio. Okay, and Scorpio is about Mars, but it's also about one of the further planets, which is Pluto. There we go. So the 8th house is about the karmic transitions of life and death and reincarnation. And if you don't believe in reincarnation, that's fine. Up to age about 7 years. Just early life experience. This also rules. Now, 2nd house can rule investments and other people's money. 8th house is usually your money, investments of a different kind. So inheritances, legacies, those karmic type endowments, investments. Also, it has to do with surgery. It has to do with a lot of like spiritual type activity. 8th house. 8th house. There's a karmic connection between the 2nd and the 8th house. But we'll talk about nodes in another video, I promise. If you're interested about nodes, let me know. Okay. So this Scorpio, very Plutonic, all about the transformation, all about the change, all about the self-improvement, all about, just metamorphosizing. And this 8th house, 8th is very much the infinity symbol as a number. And that's what this 8th house represents, is that infinity point in the universe. So above us at noon, we're in the 9th house. 9th. Oh my goodness. So this is Sagittarius. So it's kind of like an arrow, but it has a bar through the staff. And that's Sagittarius in the 9th house. Totally about the Jupiter here. This is, without a doubt, Jupiter's house. And it also rules college, higher education, and as well as religious institutions. Religious institutions usually had a lot to do with people's higher education. And so in the very beginning of education. So this also rules teachers, perhaps in a different way. This 7th house, that would be more like colleagues. This 9th house would be more like superiors, not quite bosses, but say a colleague who you were very respectful towards as a teacher. Now, this 10th house we have right here, we pretty much all know about the 10th house these days because of all those things in Capricorn. And Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. And the 10th house is ruled by Saturn. And this Saturn deity rules things like career. It rules government, bigger institutions. Also rules things like antiques and collectibles that are heritage items. Old, say an old park or an old house. So Saturn is the master of time. And Capricorn really does its accounting well. It invests well. So this is like a boss's investment. Notice how these even numbers, they kind of have to do with investment a lot and exchange. Whereas these odd numbers have something more to do with a different force. So this is the masculine active and the passive feminine being expressed in these houses, as we are all a mix of both. So the 11th house is about Aquarius, which is symbolized by these air currents here. They look like waves. The 11th house is ruled by Saturn, that's true. But it's also ruled by one of our outer planets called Uranus. Weird Uranus. That has its own glyph of 2 circles with a bar in between and a lower circle. It kind of looks like a version of gold in a way, but anyway, or an antenna or a satellite. Uranus is all about the weird and wonderful, and Aquarius uses its Saturn talents to bring communities together. They're about helping on a mass level as opposed to an individual basis, and they're about socializing. They're about bringing about a more communal way of thinking and approaching problems, and also very intellectual about social problems. So Aquarius is a very radical sign when it comes to making progress and making sure people are taken care of, and doing the long-term correct, technically correct thing. So let's see, but possibly not in the most orthodox way. So 12, finally 12, we're here with Pisces. Pisces are fishes, which are tied together with a string. It kind of looked like that. Pisces, ruled by Neptune, which is signified by Neptune's trident, and also used to be ruled, though, by Mercury. But no longer, not as much. But this Mercury is kind of important to know. All these older sign placements for these things, they help, because Mercury here with the Neptune stands for intergalactic communication. It stands for unusual Neptunian forms of communication, which are psychic or unspoken. This can also include music and visuals, and it's any form of astral travel, long distance communications. These are all Piscean type things, and the 12th house has to do with that. So let's see. The effects, we have your inner personality here in the first house. The second house is possessions and wealth. Third house, we have communication and education, basic education. Fourth house, we have the home and family. Fifth house, we have entertainment and speculation. Sixth house, we have the health and domestic life. Seventh house, we have partnership and collaboration contracts. Eighth house, we have past lives as well as supernatural occurrences, the occult. Ninth, we have religion and higher education, university level and beyond, as well as teachers. 10th house, we have bosses, our career lives, our life's calling. 11th house, we have the friendship groups, socialization values. 12th house, we have hospitals, monasteries, prisons, any place removed, long journeys, even into inner realms. So huge transformations which one makes in one's life through epiphanies of a spiritual nature. Look to the 12th house. Now, even if you don't have a planet or an asteroid in your house, don't worry about it too much. Everybody has one of these houses going on. And even if you don't have a planet in that house, it may aspect to that house in some way, indicating what relationship you have with that particular sign. And so, midheaven is generally thought to be a life calling. Ascendant is generally thought to be our inner world. The IC is generally something which is secret. The descendant is generally where we express or experience the most conflict, something we must face and get through courageously in this life. So with that, I sincerely hope that this has helped you. If you have any questions, please comment. And I sincerely appreciate, please communicate, reach out to me. I hope you are doing very, very well. It's been a pleasure to run through this with you. And I know that I could have prepared a much more logical presentation. We'll keep trying. Write in if you would like to see one a little less hand-drawn. And in the meantime, I'll be back with more astrology. So take care and all the best to you and yours. I hope you're well.